All right, Shabbat Shalom. It's your brother Wild Rum. You're back with another lesson, Lord willing to be edifying. I'm going to start by giving all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Waha, Rakak, Wadash, Barakatha Yahweh, Barakatha Yahweh Shai. Double honors to the apostles, elders, bishops, a great millstone who taught me this truth. Shalom to the 144,000 men on the Lord. You see on the highways and byways prophesying in the name and power of Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, also in the correct doctrine. I want to send a shalom to the one-third men, women, and children that will escape the judges of Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai by their faith. I just want to bring out another lesson through the spirit of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. As you see, the tensions are spiraling out of control over in the Middle East with Babylon the Great, as they, as Ukraine has pretty much entered into the war with the Americans in Iran, as Russia in the Ukraine war continues to go full force, and I believe this is a ploy to have the West, the entire West, NATO, to enter into this war. So I'm gonna hit a couple videos. I kind of worked late today, so just hit a couple scriptures, and the Lord willing to be edifying.
Breaking news on December 1st, you and I will be automatically placed in the Selective Service Draft. For the past 60 years, you have had to volunteer and register yourself for the draft. Because of a law passed earlier this year, the draft registration is now automatic and it takes place December 1st. If you're an American citizen aged 18 to 26, you will be registered automatically. Just 4 weeks after the midterm elections and after Trump said he can outweigh Iran, you will be eligible for the draft. And because it's automatic, if they come to your door and say you've been drafted, you legally have no way to fight back or tell them no. And in December, this takes place 1 month before the American-Israeli Military Integration Act in 2027. We are going to be automatically registered for the military draft 1 month after the elections for the first time in history and 1 month before the American and Israeli militaries merge. You can look up all of this. It is all true, and we are now running out of time. I don't have an answer. If they enact the draft, we are automatically registered. End of story.
So you're gonna be automatically registered, man. I think it's from 18 to 26, and this is preparing for World War III. This is not a gimmick, game, or something that someone is just trying to pull your leg, like a social media trend. No, they're preparing to send your sons and daughters into war, this last world war. And this is pretty much focused on Jake. I want to bring this lesson out because you're the only ones that matter, man. You're the only ones that can repent. So what's coming, the only ones that can repent, return to the Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, is you Blacks, Hispanic, and Native Americans. So let's get into this video.
So tell me why Donald Trump just announced officially November 26, 2026, they finna start this military draft. They drafted anybody between the ages of 18 and 42. They drafted people that's in prison that has no real serious medical conditions. And this is the kicker. If you are behind in child support, they drafting your ass November 26, 2026. Now, just think about it. It's April. How much training you think they finna get between now and November 26th? And they going frontline in this war. Frontline in the war. They say it's a shortage on American troops. They need people to fill those boots. Hey, if you know like I know, you better get ready because the worst is yet to come. November 26th, 2026. Hey, and y'all can go Google this information.
And also, if you're a single male, you're included too. They said there's just too many men out here doing nothing. They're doing DoorDash, Uber, and Lyft. Time to do some real work.
So she had to put her 2 cents in, but she's going to be drafted as well. Women are going to be drafted in this last world war as well. So, while she's thinking she's going to get away and it's the men are going to get drafted, women are going to get drafted as well. But the draft will be from 18 to 42 to be registered as a selective service is 18 to 26. So from 18 to 42, you can be drafted into this last world war. This is women or men. It's not just men. It's women as well. And you have some different different well, I ain't gonna say options, but you will have some exemptions into this draft. Like you got major illnesses. I know one is like being like high blood pressure, diabetes. Um, that's something you can look up, but those are major ailments. You got a major ailment, more likely you won't be able to, like, I think it's like asthma or sickle cell. These are different things that won't allow you to be drafted. But majority of our people here in Babylon the Great will be on that list to be drafted, man. And they're already doing, like he's going to go into the simulations that they're already putting in motion. And this will be a ground war as they preparing for it now to send troops into Iran. And they can't continue to bomb them because they're running out of a lot of their defensive missiles, man. So the only way you can really enter into this war and win the war is if you send ground troops, man. Now check this out.
Here's Joe from Georgia. Okay, parents, listen up. Listen up if you're between the ages of 18 to 26 this year also, because the United States government is running a simulation, and it's called the Readiness Simulation Project, of how we will call up soldiers 18 to 26 years old who will be registered this year automatically, how they would mobilize them. Now, folks, you got to think about it. A simulation. There is no doubt right now that the United States military is looking at a draft, and it's being proposed by Republicans because they need your children to fight for the United States in Iraq. Now, this is true. This came out today, and they're actually putting it out for bid in a contract for a company to come out with a simulation to see how it could be carried out. So if you're between the ages of 18 to 26 and you're a male, you're going to be registered automatically. Now we're going to find out, when is this draft going to take place and who's it all going to affect? So parents of those age children, you might want to call Washington, D.C. because, folks, this war in Iran is nowhere near over, and they're planning to use your kids to fight this war.
And also going to use your kids to fight against the Lord, man. Because they're going to merge the American military with the small cap military. Now let me play this real quick, because they're planning on doing a ground invasion, and they don't have enough manpower because the small caps are not going to send their troops. They're merging with your government to send your troops, your children.
I think the real options they may be preparing now for is boots on the ground. I think the president's preparing to go the full way on this, and that's why part of this break in the effort, position forces and be prepared to go to the next step of escalation.
Their ballistic missiles and drones are dispersed throughout the country, which enables them to strike our assets in the region and present some challenges for us if indeed we were to conduct on-the-ground operations. I think for the...
Salaki, I don't know why it stopped and did that. Let's play this video.
I think the real options they may be preparing now for is boots on the ground. I think the president's preparing to go the full way on this, and that's why part of this break in the effort, position forces and be prepared to go to the next step of escalation.
Their ballistic missiles and drones are dispersed throughout the country, which enables them to strike our assets in the region and present some challenges for us if indeed we were to conduct on-the-ground operations. I think for the Trump administration, there are other ways to get at Iran's nuclear program, including further kinetic strikes, decapitation strikes of Iran's leadership. If this iteration of Iran's leadership doesn't want to negotiate, perhaps the next one will.
Wow. Okay. I just want to pause it right there because not sure if you caught it. Man, he said that, we might have to do boots on the ground. Now, we had heard the reporter come out and say that we're not going to be able to reach these facilities with the bombs. And he's saying, I think we can. Here we're hearing from Mr. Dan Hoffman, and he is saying, you know what, Mr. Fox News reporter who just said that we can't reach those facilities, I think we can. I think we blow it to smithereens and we wipe out the IRGC that is currently in power right now and see if the next group is more willing to talk. Let me know. Do you agree with him? He is saying, I think we can reach those facilities. I think we can blow them up. And I think we don't need to put our troops on the ground to go into those facilities to go get the enriched uranium. He's saying this might be a possibility. So we're actually hearing two different things in the same interview. So it's kind of up in the air here as to whether or not we're going to be able to reach those underground facilities. Who knows? Let me know your thoughts.
So pretty much, it goes to show you that they're sitting them on a wild goose chase because they cannot go into another country and just go in and do what they want to do, as they've done in many other countries. But this is not the same, man. This nation, the Persians, have been it's an old nation. They are a warlike nation, man, and they're set up to fight because they're prepared for it for over 40 some odd years for this day. That they knew they was going to have to fight against the Edomites. So you're seeing the beginning of World War III. We're already in World War III. You're seeing the beginning of the Battle of Armageddon, man. It's not going to stop. It's not going to calm. It's going. Like I say, it ain't gonna calm down. It's gonna calm down for a little bit, but it's gonna spike right back up, man. Because this is the time of the end. This is the last war.
America has the strongest military in the world, but this war just exposed its biggest weakness. And it's not what you think. It's not the soldiers, it's not the technology, it's math. On the very first day of this war, America killed Iran's supreme leader. That was supposed to be checkmate. The regime was supposed to crack. But it didn't. Iran closed the Strait of Hormuz, the narrow strip of water that carries 1/5 of the world's oil. And suddenly the strongest military on earth had a problem it couldn't bomb its way out of. Then Iran went on the attack. American bases hit in Bahrain. Saudi Arabia, Qatar, the UAE, Iraq and Jordan were hit. Even British bases in Cyprus and also in the Indian Ocean. Iran's cheap drones flew so low they slipped right past billion-dollar defense systems. America's own defense secretary and top general privately admitted to Congress that these drones were a problem they couldn't fully stop. In just the first 4 days of this war, American Patriot batteries fired 943 interceptor missiles. Sounds fine, right? Because America has plenty, except that the factories that build these missiles produce about 620 per year. So in 4 days, America used up 18 months of production. 4 days, 18 months. And it didn't stop there. Halfway through this war, America had burned through roughly half of its Patriot missiles, half of its THAAD interceptors too, the most advanced defense system it has. Each THAAD missile costs almost $13 million. The factory makes about 100 a year. Experts say refilling that stockpile could take up to 8 years. 8 years to recover from a few months of fighting a country with an economy smaller than the state of Florida. Now stop and think about what that really means. For years, America has talked about being ready to take on Russia, ready to defend Taiwan against China. 2 wars at once if needed, that was the claim. But Iran isn't Russia. Iran isn't China. Iran is a country crushed by sanctions, with an air force from the 1970s. And this fight still drained half of America's best missiles. Now China builds weapons faster than any country on earth. Its factories outproduce American factories many times over. Russia has been in full war mode for years. So here is the question nobody in Washington wants to answer out loud. If a few months against Iran emptied the shelves this badly, what happens when America is up against a real superpower? America even paused weapons deliveries to Taiwan during this war because there simply wasn't enough to go around. And the Allies noticed it. Japan, South Korea, everyone noticed. You can be sure Beijing noticed it too. Every rival on the planet is looking at the same numbers we just showed you. The empty shelves, the 8-year refill, the pause on Taiwan. America is still the strongest military in the world. That part is true. But the strongest military in the world just showed everyone its limit. And in a world full of enemies, the most dangerous thing you can lose is not a battle. It's the fear.
And you see that this military conflict is not, like it says in, Isaiah 95. Let me get that real quick and I'll hit the point I want to make. Because this is asymmetric warfare that they are waging against America. It's not the regular wars that they are accustomed to having, man. And this goes to show you that their leaders are not leading the nation the way they should into this last world war. This is Isaiah 9 and verse 5. It says, for every war, for every battle of the warrior is with confused noise and garments rolled with blood. But this shall be with burning and fuel of fire. See, they are not prepared for the type of war that Iran is waging. And it was another video I wanted to play because the council members told Pete Hegseth that you're not possessing the right leadership, man, for them to win. So this asymmetric warfare that they're using, they prepared for this. They knew they would have to fight against the Americans, not the way that they're traditionally able to fight, because they're outnumbered, military and power, man, and funding. Now you're going to see that Pete Hegseth is going before I think it was the Congress, and asking for more money, man. And they're asking for the money that you can't even print in fast enough to even give to them, which they got to print it. But the point is, they're asking for so much money, and this war has not even been a year, and they're already out of money, man. This goes to show you that they wasn't prepared for this war, this asymmetric war that they're fighting. Let me get the definition of asymmetric. It says, asymmetric warfare is armed conflict between opposing sides with unequal military power. See, with unequal military power. So those drones have showed you that those THAAD missiles, like in the end of that video, is showing you the THAAD missiles and all these missiles that cost $6-7 million to make, and Iran is using $20,000 drones, man. You cannot financially keep up with that type of warfare. It says, the asymmetric warfare is an armed conflict between unopposing sides with unequal military power, resources, and strategies, such as a large national military fighting a smaller group. It relies on unconventional methods like guerrilla tactics, terrorism, and cyber attacks. See, this is what the Persians are waging against America, man. And they're standing toe-to-toe with them because their warfare is totally different than what America's used to. They're used to just going and bombing and basically bombing them into submission. But this is a different type of warfare, man. Now check this out.
So the new number you've given me is what?
37.5 billion.
And that represents the cost of the war through what period of time?
Run that back.
So the new number you've given me is what?
37.5 billion.
And that represents the cost of the war through what period of time?
Through now for certain aspects of it, but also mill pay, O&M, other anticipated costs through September 30th.
37.5. I don't know how that number hits you, but if you do a little quick math in your head, we're asking for about 60 and change in the supplemental budget request. Are we signing up for another 10 months of war?
To be fair, I think you're underestimating it. He was clear in his testimony that they also want 1.5 trillion as the base budget.
Well, that's right.
So we currently spend $1 trillion. He wants 1.5 trillion. That's $500 billion increase, plus another, paltry 37 billion on top of the 500 billion. No one in the history of the country has ever asked for this much money. This is more money that you can't even print that fast. All right, so it threatens our country. The biggest threat we have right now is our debt. We are more in danger of devaluing our currency than we are of Iran invading the United States.
Well, the defense secretary testified that for national security, it is critical that they get the money that they are asking for. What would you say to someone that says the actual danger that the country is put in is if the Pentagon can't fund it?
I would say that he's mistaken the problem. The greatest threat to our national security is our debt. That's what Admiral Mullen said 10 years ago, and it's gotten 10 times worse. It is completely and utterly fiscally irresponsible to someone to ask for a 50% increase in the military, but they're not asking for the approval of Congress. We have a war that we have not voted upon, no congressional vote. Look, George Bush, at the very least, came to Congress. He asked for an authorization for the use of military force for Afghanistan and for Iraq without a vote, and yet then he wants us to give him a 50% increase. We're $2 trillion short this year. Increasing the military spending by 50% is absolutely irresponsible.
So this place cannot financially continue a war for more than, not even 10 months with the The budget that they're asking for, man, in the trillions they're asking for, which they spend that type of money yearly, more than any other nation, more than I think it's the next 10 nations combined. This is what they use because they have the financial dominance over the nations because everyone uses the American dollar. But that is coming to an end because no nation can continue in the debt that they have. No nation can, like the guy just said, no nation has ever asked for that type of money because you can't sustain that type of debt. It's going to take him, he said he used in the first 4 months, they used 940 missiles, which it took 18 months to make that many missiles, man. They only make 600 missiles per year. So they have to send ground troops into Iran. And this is what Ukraine just struck Iran so it can also get the entire West into this fight. Now I'm gonna hit a couple scriptures just to land back off those videos. I'm just hit a couple of them. This is Ecclesiastes Sirach 10 and verse 1. This is in the NLT, the Apocrypha in NLT. It says a wise ruler will educate his people. Now DJT just told you that we obliterated their army. They don't have no power, no military might to come against us. That's what he continually says with no facts. But he feels like the American people are so dumbed down, they won't look into what he is saying. And this goes to show you that this place only leans on emotion. Everything is based on emotion here in Babylon the Great, man. If they can play on your emotions, then they got you. But when you critically think about the things that they're doing and what's going on in the world, you clearly understand. Now I'm gonna get this in the regular King James Apocrypha. It says a wise judge will instruct his people, and the government of a prudent man is well ordered. See, a prudent man, his government is well ordered. And it shows you that Esau is not a prudent man, man. It says, as the judge of the people is himself, so are his officers. So his military people, his what you got all Pete Hegseth and all his Secretary of States and all the people that's in under him, they move the same exact way, man, with no care. It says, as a judge of the people is himself, so are his officers. And what manner of man the ruler of the city is, such are all they that dwell therein. An unwise king destroyeth his people. See that? An unwise king destroyeth his people. And DJT is considered a king. He is ruling Babylon the Great, man. He directs who's going to go to war, who's not. And it shows you he's an unwise king, man, because he goes on TV and he tells you that they don't have any army. They have no military capabilities. And we can see clear as day that they're still fighting, man. But everybody else thinks, well, DJT is telling you the truth. It says an unwise king destroyeth his people. And a lot of people that's going to be in his military that is drafted and go over to the Middle East will not make it back. They will never see the shores of Babylon the Great again. It says, but through the prudence of them which are in authority, the city shall be inhabited. The power of the earth is in the hand of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua. See, the Lord is in control of everything. He is sending DJT to war, man. He's making him think that he can win. Let me hit this real quick. This is Proverbs 21. And it shows you that the Lord is controlling these men that's in power. This is Proverbs 21 and verse 1. It says, the king's heart, meaning his mind, is in the hand of the Lord, man. Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua. See, his mind is in the hand of the Lord, man. This is the reason why they're pushing forth to go to war. Deeper and deeper, sinking into that spot the Lord wants them, so they can't get out of it. The king's heart is in the hand of the Lord, Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua. As rivers of water, he turneth it whithersoever he will. So he is turning him to go into the war more and more, to the point that he's trying to draw Russia and China into a bigger war. See, DJT, Donald Trump, was the Trojan horse. If you look up the Trojan horse in the ancient world, he was to destroy from within. So what they would do is they would have a horse they would make as a statue, and they would have it hollowed. And the army would get into the horse, and they would fight from within. It's a well-known saying. You just look up the Trojan horse, and this is what DJT was. He was set up to be the Trojan horse to destroy Babylon the Great from within. And he used it by the emotions on the people, man. Make America great again. So you can see that the Lord has them set up perfectly for World War III, man, the Battle of Armageddon, for them not to get out of it. And this is beautiful, man, because the more and more that we see that this place is coming to an end, the Lord is putting a spirit on us to have more and more faith in him. Because there's no way that you can see anything coming after this but destruction. This is Ecclesiastes in the Bible. It says in 3 and verse 8, it says, a time to love and a time to hate. See, the Lord always has a time for everything, man. It says a time of war and a time of peace. See, now we're in a time of war, man. There's no peace coming. So the Lord is balanced. He's a balanced power. So I'm going to read it one more time. It says a time to love and a time to hate. See, the Lord is a balance, man. You got time of love. You got time. You can go up to the top and read all of it. It shows you the balance that the Lord has. But the point I wanted to get in this was a time of war and a time of peace. See, we had a time of peace before DJT really got in there. Now it's a time of war. And that's all you see online, man. Everybody's talking about the war. Everybody's talking about the draft. Everybody's talking about what's going on with the government. We're in a time of war, man. And war is not always with guns and weapons. It's a spiritual war, because if you don't understand what's going on, you're not a part of the fight, man. You're what they call cannon fodder. You just set up to be destroyed. This is Isaiah 3, and drop down to verse 9. It says, the show of their countenance doeth witness against them, and they declare their sins as Sodom. And this is Babylon the Great. This is how the people think of themselves. They declare their sins as Sodom. So they don't care about, being a mo or being, effeminate. It says they hide it not. And this is what they're going to be drafted. You're going to have a lot of moles drafted into this last world war, man, because it's ultimately for their judgment. It says, woe unto their soul, for they have rewarded evil to them unto themselves. And a lot of people are going to reward evil to themselves, man, because they're not going to see this place anymore, man. You're not going to see your mother. You're not going to see your father, your friends, if you're drafted over and sent over to that war, man, because you will not return back to Babylon the Great. And if you do return, what is it going to be returned to? It's going to be destroyed. It says, verse 10, it says, say ye to the righteous that it shall be well with him, for they shall eat the fruit of their doings. See, you're finna eat the fruit of your doings, man. Not want to repent, thinking you know it all, and you got it figured out. You're going to eat the fruit of your doings, man. NLT, it says, tell the godly that all will be well for them. See, if you're with the Lord, man, you're doing the right thing. You praising him, Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shah. It says, to the godly that all will be well for them. They will enjoy the rich reward they have earned. And that's going into being in this truth, man, being in this faith, believing and having faith in Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shah, man. It says, but the wicked are doomed. See, the wicked are doomed, for they will get exactly what they deserve. And that's plain, man. You're going to get exactly what you deserve, man. And you owe it to yourself, man. If you didn't take heed to this word, you're going to be doomed, man. Verse 12, it says, childish leaders oppress my people. And that's plain, man. And you see DJT, he at first, he was against the so-called Mexicans. Now you see him against Jake, man. He's going against the tribes, man. And not only him, but all these Edomites. It says, and women rule over them. Oh, my people, your leaders mislead you. And that's what's going to happen, man. Our people think that Babylon the Great is where they're really Americans, man. They think that the Lord is really dealing with this place, man. They always say, God bless America, not knowing the Lord is finna damn this place, man, to judgment. It says, oh, my people, your leaders mislead you. They send you down they send you down the wrong road, man. That's plain, man. It says, Yahweh Shem Yahushua takes his place in court. He presents his case against his people. That's plain, man. And this is for our people, man. Because you're going to be drafted and sent over to be destroyed, man. You're going to be a part of the Middle East, a part of that soul. Yahweh Shem Yahushua comes forward to pronounce judgment. See, the Lord comes forth to pronounce judgment on the elders and rulers of his people. You have ruined Israel, my vineyard. Your houses are filled with things stolen from the poor. How dare you crush my people? Gird the faces of the poor into dust. Demand Yahweh Shem Yahushua, Yahweh Shem Yahushua of heaven's army. See, you destroyed his people, man. And speaking of these leaders, man, your pastors, your leaders, your TD Jakes, and all these leaders that our people look up to, your Jay-Z's and all these people that are part of the Boule, King, what's his name, LeBron James. Our people look at these people as idols, man, to look to. If they say something, then it's worth believing in, man. But they're set to be destroyed, man. And this is what's going to be sick in our people's mind, man. You're gonna be sick because you thought that this was everything you believed in was a lie. This is dropping down to verse 25. It says, this is Isaiah 3 and verse 25. It says, thy man shall fall by the sword and the mighty man in the war. See, you're sent over there, you're gonna fall by the sword, man, in war. NLT, it says, the men of the city will be killed with the sword, and her warriors will die in battle. See, the men that's sent over there, they're gonna die in battle. They're not gonna return, man. Let me hit a couple more and I'll be it. This is Joel. This is Joel 2. Just hit the point in verse 20. It says, but I will remove far off you from the northern army. Let me read that again. It says, and I will remove far off from you the northern army. Speaking of Northern America, North America, the army. It says, and we'll drive them into a land barren and desolate. Speaking about the Middle East, man. It says, Saudi Arabia, be exact. It says, with his face toward the east sea, and his hinder part toward the utmost sea, and his stink shall come up. It means you're going to be in the soul of Babylon the Great, man. It won't be no burials in that day. You're going to be left for the souls and the animals of the air, man. It says, and his stink shall come up, and his ill savor shall come up, because he have done great things. And this is speaking of the Lord, man. So the Lord is going to do great things, man. And it's ultimately only for the elect on this side until we reach the kingdom of heaven, man. And because the Lord is against these armies, man. The Lord is against these armies, man. This is Isaiah 34 and start at verse 1. It says, come near, ye nations, to hear, and hearken, ye people. Let the earth hear, and all that is therein, the world and all things that come forth of it. For the indignation of the Lord, Yahweh Shem Yahushua, is upon all nations, and his fury upon all their armies. That's plain, man. He is against all nations and all armies. So if you're drafted into that war, the Lord is against you, man. He have utterly destroyed them, speaking in past tense. So he's already telling you, you're finna be destroyed, man. You get in the army, man. So you're going to be sent over to fight against him, man, when the Lord returns. He have delivered them to the slaughter. See? He have delivered them to the slaughter. So that these armies that come against the Lord is going to be delivered to the slaughter, man. Let me get this in the NLT just to make it plain. It says, for the Lord Yahweh Shem Yahushua is enraged against the nations. His fury is against all their armies. He will completely destroy them, dooming them to the slaughter. It says, their dead will be left unburied. That's what I'm telling you, man. I ain't making it up. This is written. Their dead will be left unburied, and they stench of rotten bodies will fill the land. See that? You're sent to the Middle East and go into that army, man. Drafted and go into the army, man. You're gonna be a part of that soul, man. You're not gonna have a barrel for a little Ray Ray or a Pookie. They're gonna be a part of that soil over there, man. Their dead bodies will be left unburied, and their stench and the stench of the rotten bodies will fill the land. The mountains will flow with their blood. Great judgment's coming, man. So I'm in it there, Lord, when it was edifying. Shalom. Shalom.